time for another Coffee with Kilroy, or what I like to call beverage in a book. My beverage? Well, it's coffee, hence the name. I think I'll stick with that for now. Your beverage? Well, that's up to you. I hope it's something you like. Hope it is something refreshing. The book? Well, the book this time is unexpected. I was originally planning on covering a series of Wargame books that came out in the 90s that were drafted or designed or written by a tank commander. And there's a series of books, and I was going to cover that, but I was watching combat board games. And you know what happens when you watch combat board games? Well, you pick up strange ideas. He was the one that gave me an idea for, I think it was like the Quartermaster D66 game. He did a little review on that, or page turn. He did the same thing for this book, the Rosenheim Project. He just did that a week ago, maybe. And I want to give credit where credit's due, so go check out his take on it. He does a nice job of what he likes about it and what the book is about. But, you know, I thought I would cover it in my Coffee with Kilroy, which I've been on a rant here or run of wargame books or game books. And this clearly falls within the series of game books. This is based on kind of a choose-your-own-adventure type system, yet there's a game here involved. You need to make decisions. There's combat involved. Although it's a unique combat system, it's not your typical die roll. It's a coin flip. You flip coins, and depending on what your results are, you have successes or failures. The topic here, though, is very much ripe for the war game era. This is dealing with the attempted assassination or the behind-the-scenes espionage around the potential assassination of Adolf Hitler. Now, if this sounds familiar, I did do a series, I believe, or a segment on Black Orchestra, which this is a board game about the attempted assassination of Adolf Hitler. Or if you watched Inglourious Bastards, the assassination of Adolf Hitler. Spoiler alert. So this is basically, you're a British secret agent in wartime Germany, or actually pre-wartime Germany, trying to get to Hitler and making decisions and, choosing, whether you want to keep weapons or identifications or the like to get you out of certain situations. And it definitely has a somewhat of a choose your own adventure feel. Let me have another sip here. And so I thought this was, after watching a combat board game segment, I thought, I need to get this book because he has not steered me wrong in the past, and he was right in this one. This is an interesting book. It's a decent sized book here. There's it is, again, part of the choose your own adventure, so there is some selection and then turning. Here's your fighting options there. So here's how to read the book. There's Gestapo points, but it's basically paragraph driven. You're reading the story and making decisions and then moving along. Gestapo points is kind of the way you lose the game or reset the game. If you get so many of those, you've got to turn to page 100, and page 100 says, hey, thanks for playing, but better luck next time. The Gestapo weeds you out and gets you. So there's fighting opponents, there's equipment that you're going to use and making decisions on which equipment to keep or use during the game. But it's basically, paragraph driven and choose your own adventure, and there's like turning to different paragraph numbers. That's why I won't go page through this because, spoiler alert, there's a lot of spoilers in here. You want to experience this yourself as you go through it. It's a little bit different than some of the traditional choose your own adventure that, you have like a little character sheet and you keep track of your stats and you might even roll up your character. there's no dice in this. This is diceless, and so it really is more of a chapter book, and you're reading through and you're making selections and turning to different pages or paragraphs. And then when there's combat, and I said there's this, kind of a unique coin flip type mechanism. But there's decisions throughout this, and this is more novel than it is game. It's more of the history and what was going on behind the scenes, and trying to get to this guy here, than it is a purely game or adventure type setting. So that's interesting. But I think this is something, if you're interested in history, I'm probably going to put this in my playlist for book shelf, for wargame books, and for quasi-historical books maybe, because it does give you some of the feel and the history of this period. But this is not, if you're really just wanting war games, check out some of the other ones I've been talking about. This really is more of an espionage or spy adventure set in this time period than it is, a straight up war game. But I thought it was worthwhile covering. There's at least 2 other books in this series. Knowing me, and if you're watching enough of these segments, you might know me by now. I'll probably pick them up, and I might cover those as well. There's at least one other war, or they're all 3, I think, historical. One, I think, is dealing with the Guy Fawkes situation, and another one's dealing with the Napoleonics. So I'll probably end up picking up both of them, and I'll probably cover them in this segment if you guys like that. And I'd like to know your thoughts on this in general. Love to hear your notes. Love to hear any comments. Good, bad, ugly. I can take it. Love to hear it. But what do you think about this segment? Because I've been focusing a lot of my coffee with Kilroy's right here on war game books or game books. And, this segment started off with, Avalon Hill catalogs and inserts. And then I was going to go into, game or war books or game books about war games. I did Zones of Control, and I've got 2 or 3 others that I was going to get into. But then I started getting into these war game books, the Worthington ones, and Mike Lambo's got several. He's got more coming out, and there's several out there, and that have kind of come with a burst of energy that I think is partly fueled by sourcing or supply chain, but I think largely fueled by COVID and people, going inward and going more solo. So, love to know your thoughts on that. Do you like these segments? Do you like being introduced to these books? Some people have already put some comments out there that they love to see this and love to hear more. So I think I'm going to keep doing it, but I'd love to hear any thoughts about it. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover, don't make me watch, YouTube and find my ideas from other people. So just let me know. Just put them in the comments. No, I do want to thank Combat Board Games for his coverage on this stuff, because it's given me ideas as well. And as I said, at some point I will try to do a more larger piece that kind of overviews all the different type of game books or war game books. I might even go into the more pure choose your own adventure. This is kind of a unique choose your own adventure on how it does a few things, but there's some of the more traditional choose your own adventure, and there's some that I picked up not recently, not when I was a kid, but are kind of juvenile. They're designed or written for kids, usually younger kids, but they give some history and they have some choices in it. So I've kind of picked those up. I picked them up for my kids. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I might cover those as well and go into that. But I'm trying not to do just this. This isn't really all about choose your own adventure. I really do try to do war game books, or games that are basically a war game in a book format. And this really isn't that. This is really more choose your own adventure. But love to hear any thoughts you guys have on this, or any of it, as whatever you have to say. I'm always I'm all ears. Let's put it that way. As you see on the back of the book, can you change the course of history? part book, part game. The Rosenheim Project is a real-life history adventure that puts you in the shoes of a wartime British secret agent deep undercover in the Third Reich, with risk and danger around every corner. Can you avoid the dreaded Gestapo, or some people might say gazpacho, and blend in with life well enough in Nazi Germany to complete a top secret mission decisive to the outcome of World War II. All key details are based on real people and true events to give you the most realistic and immersive experience possible of life behind enemy lines, but you must decide which way to go, who to trust, and which risk to take to make it out alive and complete your mission. So, the aspect of real people, true events, I mean, so there's, again, this is more novel, this is more history, but there is a game in here too. So that's kind of a neat thing. If you like a little bit more interactive nature to your historic reading, then this very well might be it. And I as I said, I think there's at least 2 other books in this series. I'm hoping that they are as historic, and that they're basically a history novel that has a game element to it, because I do like the history. That's one reason why I got into gaming, especially wargaming, is the historical element of it. Learning something, improving my understanding of something, trying to understand it better in a more interactive manner. That's what I like about games, especially war games, and this book feels like it fits into that niche as well. So that's what I have for today. Love to know your thoughts on this. Love to know your thoughts on anything, actually, or honestly. Love to hear from you. That's why I do this, is to get some thoughts out there, to get a discussion going and see what you think, and also introduce people to some stuff that I'm finding and I'm experiencing as well. So, I know that your time is important, so I do really want to thank you for spending any time with me. It is appreciated. Please know that. And thanks. You could be doing something else, drinking coffee, or drinking something else with somebody else. And I appreciate that you spent some time with me. So anyway, that's what I have for today. Love to hear your thoughts. And here is to the rest of your day. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.